Thanksgiving is a time when many people celebrate the season with gratitude and by looking back at the many things they're thankful for. For as long as WFAA has been around, our station has worked to capture the heartwarming, inspiring, and sometimes surprising stories that make Thanksgiving so special here in North Texas. So we're taking a walk down memory lane, revisiting some of those cherished moments, from local traditions and community gatherings to the remarkable acts of kindness that really do define this holiday. So sit back. Let's give thanks together as we share some of our most memorable Thanksgiving stories.
A parade which tomorrow morning, when it's strung out through downtown Dallas, will be almost 3 blocks long, came out of this truck. It's the 10th annual Downtown Dallas Committee Balloon Parade. This year's parade, which theme is The Wonderful World of Dr. D.O. Little, signals the beginning of the holiday season in downtown Dallas. When the signal for go is given at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, there'll be some 40 creatures like this strung out through the length of the parade. They're carried along on dollies, surrounded by a total of some 350 Boy Scouts who help the creatures along. But of course, as you may have guessed, these creatures don't come out of that truck looking like this. What comes in the truck are crates like this, each of which is an animal's travel home. The crates are gingerly unpacked, and then the blowing up process begins. The animals are made of a fiber covered with rubber. Sometimes it's necessary for a man to do part of the blowing up process, but this is only in the topping off or blowing up a small section. It's physically impossible for one individual or even a group of them to blow up creatures such as this size. You can't talk to these animals, but we suspect that even the original Dr. Dolittle, as well as countless kids, will find them enchanting, and perhaps even a few adults, too. Teal Salon reporting.
Because he remembers, Frank Luffer and his family are opening their home to 40 Soviet Jews who are beginning their lives all over again in the United States. This is their first Thanksgiving, and for them it means thanks to the country which has given them refuge. The Luffers have spent days preparing for their guests: 7 turkeys, cranberries, fruits, potatoes, vegetables, a free flow of food to help them celebrate.
Thanksgiving means to me quite a bit because I vividly remember 1949 when I came first to Dallas on the same auspices as an immigrant, but then I came from Germany after the Holocaust.
Emmanuel and Anna Zeltzer have been here for 3 months. They are both musicians and plan to continue their studies here. The rest of their family is still in the Soviet Union, but the Zeltzers are hopeful that the others will be coming here as well. And although they've only been married for a year, they're looking forward to raising a family in a country free of oppression. So tonight this room will be full, and 40 new Americans will sit down to a feast and give very special thanks. Ellen Burstein, Channel 8 News.
The firefighters at Station 37 had invited their families over for Thanksgiving dinner. Harold Leistokow was the chief cook. The feast would be served at 2 o'clock. And since serving time was only about half an hour away, the rest of the firefighters at the station moved tables into the main room, while Leistokow made final preparations on the meal, during which he was heard to mutter, "Sure enough, we're going to have to make a run. It never fails." The men's families had started arriving, and sure enough, at 3 minutes till 2, Leistokow's mutterings came true. In a matter of seconds, he was gone on a heart attack call. But things must go on. The feast must be eaten. The food was on the table, and the big bird was ready for the carving knife. Everyone filled their plates, and Station House 37's big family settled into eating Thanksgiving dinner. Surely they'd leave some of that feast for the man responsible for creating it. Kay Vinson, Channel 8 News.
The tolling of the bells at Thanksgiving Square gathered people together to celebrate the spirit of Thanksgiving. For 200 years, Americans have given thanks for their bountiful harvest, and Dallas residents of different religious beliefs and ethnic backgrounds continued the tradition today. In a joyous and yet solemn ceremony, Anglos, Blacks, Mexican Americans, and Native Indians offered personal gifts of thanks, while community leaders read testimonies of gratitude, as in this traditional passage from the Seneca Indians.
when two people meet. They first have the obligation to be grateful that they are happy. They greet each other, and after that, they take up the matter with which just they two are concerned.
Religious leaders led the congregation in singing and prayer, followed by President Carter's Thanksgiving proclamation.
I ask all Americans to gather on that day with their families and neighbors, in their homes, in their houses of worship, to give thanks for the blessings Almighty God has bestowed upon us.
The crowd that gathered for this ceremony symbolized the spirit of brotherhood that Thanksgiving represents, and the pealing bells rang out that spirit for all of Dallas to hear. Becky Hartman, Channel 8 News.
I feel very fortunate, very thankful to be here, to have everything that I do have.
For Lindell Hill and his family, this is a very special holiday. Medical science has given him a new lease on life in the form of a piggyback heart transplant.
Last year was much, much different than this year. Last Thanksgiving, he was fighting to stay out of the hospital. Everything is so different than it was last year that it's just impossible to believe that it's the same man walking around as last year. We're very, very thankful.
And here in Dallas, the patients at the Forest Manor Nursing Home have a lot to be thankful for, too. The state took over this home following charges of poor food and patient abuse. This Thanksgiving, according to the people who live here, is a lot better than last Thanksgiving. What's the difference between last year's Thanksgiving dinner and this year?
This Thanksgiving, it was nice, but this is better than it was last year. And everything considerably is much better.
You're happier here this year than last year?
Yes, I am. Much happier.
And there was happiness this Thanksgiving Day in the home of John and Aline Beckwith. Mrs. Beckwith, you may remember, was shot during the holdup of a 7-Eleven store where she worked. After 104 days in the hospital, many on the critical list, Aline Beckwith was home today to enjoy Thanksgiving dinner with her family. Tell me how it's going to feel to spend Thanksgiving with your family after all that happened.
Well, it's a real great feeling because I didn't know if I would, because I was on the critical list for a long time. It's a great feeling to be back home with the family again.
I think you're pretty thankful, huh?
We are very thankful.
It was the first holiday we spent together since Easter. And one thing, she cooked at the end of the day. I've been cooking for the last 6 months. And I hadn't put the cookbook down now. I have a new cook at home. Gracious Father, we thank you today for preparing this Thanksgiving dinner for us. Thank you most of all, Jesus, for my wife at home with us today. Thank you for all the things that you did for us at this present moment. And thank you, Jesus, for this great family today. Next these blessing your namesakes. Amen.
The Beckwiths, the Hills, and James Trice. The problems they have overcome are a reminder to all of us that we have a lot to be thankful for. David Margulies, Channel 8 News.
The turkey trainers had done all they could. Now it was up to the turkeys to do their stuff by trotting up a storm for 8 long miles. There were tall turkeys, short turkeys, old turkeys, and even a pregnant turkey in the flock.
It's 4 miles when we're going to deliver.
The pregnant turkey just kept on trotting. She was making about 1 mile every 11 minutes. Of course, she wasn't making as good a time as turkey trotter John Ludwig, but then Ludwig isn't pregnant. He is, however, the winner of the trot. It took him 39 minutes and 14 seconds to trot out the race. 1,298 turkeys later, Dee Smith crossed the finish line.
We didn't come in last.
And there must be some consolation in that when you're 8 months pregnant.
How was it? Fantastic. I'm glad I'm through. You run every day? Right. 6 to 7 days a week.
How far?
5 miles minimum.
This your first kid or your second kid?
Second.
Ran with the first?
Ran with the first one up until about 3 weeks before, and then it got to about 100-degree weather and I quit.
Kay Vinson, Channel 8 News.
At the county jail, they used to serve fresh turkeys on Thanksgiving Day, but turkeys have gotten so expensive, the inmates now are served frozen meat. Next to Christmas, Thanksgiving is the most costly day for feeding jail inmates. The jail's yearly operating budget includes money for the holiday meal, and just like any other household, jail officials have to work within that budget. That's the reason for turkey rolls instead of fresh turkey. The cost of turkey has gone up a lot, 10 to 20 cents a pound since last year. It would be impossible to provide fresh turkey dinners for the nearly 1,500 inmates and stay within the jail's budget.
Would you like coffee? Would you like coffee?
Not too far from the county jail, at the Dallas Salvation Army, Thanksgiving meals were being served for between 400 and 600 people. Here, too, the cost of being charitable is going up.
Well, it's more expensive just because food in general is more expensive, and it costs the Salvation Army just like it does the average consumer. We have to pay for it.
Where does the money come from?
It comes from our contributors and from the community in general. There are some donors who specify that they want their funds to come for this specific meal. And then our budget. We have a budget that we run on. It comes out of the budget.
Some churches, like the Union Gospel Mission in Dallas, also serve holiday meals for the needy. Most of the churches depend on donations to support their effort. The country's worsening economic picture is making fundraising more difficult.
During the summer months, we had a real hard time meeting our expenses, but when we put out a plea to our supporters, well, they rallied, and everything is doing all right now.
In just a few weeks, these groups will again serve meals at Christmas time. Perhaps the people receiving the meals won't be the only ones thankful, but those providing the meals as well. Thankful that in these troubled economic times, there's food to give. Toby Marsh, Channel 8 News.
Did he say 68 how many? I don't know, ma'am. Who does know?
I wish we knew.
At this point, most Southwest Airlines flights seem to be running about 3 to 4 hours late, and some of these folks say they had been waiting as long as 6 hours, some to go somewhere else, some to pick up someone coming here. There are lines for everything, lines to check in, lines to check out, lines to be checked out, and lines to check on loved ones.
She left here at 7:45. Well, she should be home. 7:15, she should be home.
The official reasons for the delay seem to depend on what city you're stuck in. Some were told it was the fog in Lubbock, Austin, or here. Others were told it was a computer breakdown in Houston. Whatever the reasons, the stack-up has turned the lounge area at Gate 5 into a campground. And down the concourse, some are keeping an eye on the TV monitors flashing the latest delays while trying to make good use of the waiting time. Others seem to be having a great time in the bar, like this couple who ran into each other tonight for the first time in years.
I was getting ready to go home when I saw it, so that's why I'm still here waiting for my flight. Now it just flashed up it's leaving at 8:50, so I think I'm going to get there.
Oh, it can't be all bad that you got reunited.
No, it's great. Now we're going to go to the other.
That's right. We're going to drink to celebrate leaving at 8:50.
Carol Nealon, Channel 8 News.
They came bundled in the chill of the morning and ready for a 90-minute celebration in downtown Dallas. But the cold and wind forced officials to move the Thanksgiving Square activities inside the spiraling chapel. The annual Thanksgiving Square celebration was tempered some today by events around the world, starvation in Cambodia, and American lives on the line at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran.
I think about those people who are held hostage, that maybe even today, in their way, they're able to sing a song or to join hands or in some way express the unity that they know as we reach out to them even in our prayers of thanksgiving.
Actress and Dallas resident Greer Garson reminded the gathering that Thanksgiving is a family celebration, but it must be remembered there are others less fortunate.
We think of others across the world who at this very time are suffering the tragedies of famine, revolution, and despair. Americans are so generous, so compassionate. Let us resolve this year that when the turkey is served and the pies are baked, that we will, by thinking, set an extra place at every table for an invisible guest from a desolate region where the starving are too weak and too ill to move a hand or to cry out for help.
Relighting the flame of Thanksgiving in the chapel, Miss Garson called for all Americans to send the cost of one good dinner to the Red Cross or other agency to help ease the agony of hunger and touch a fainting heart with love and hope. Charles Duncan, Channel 8 News.
Until almost midnight. We were up at 4. I woke up at 2 thinking it was time to get up, and I jumped out of bed. It's only 2 o'clock.
This is the biggest day in Pat McGee's life. Soon she'll be meeting her father, a man she can't remember. 32 years ago, when the family broke up and they went their separate ways, she was only 2 years old. After searching all over the country for the last 5 years and making hundreds of telephone calls, recently Pat found her dad living in Florida.
I woke up in the middle of the night. I'd been trying for a long time and had no luck. And I woke up in the middle of the night and someone said, get up, get on the phone, you're going to find your dad.
With her 10-year-old son Dennis, Pat is flying to Tampa to finally meet Bethel Roberts, her dad. Her friends have come to the airport to see them off.
We ask that you have your boarding pass available to present to the flight attendants.
Thank you.
Bye.
At the Tampa airport, it's 10 a.m., and Bethel Roberts can hardly stand it. He's about to say hello to a 34-year-old daughter he remembers as a 2-year-old child.
Hey, baby.
Oh.
Good to see you. Hey, Dennis. Good boy. It's Grandma.
During all those years apart, Roberts roamed the country. They all lost track of each other. Because he returned to Florida, his birthplace, and because Pat McGee refused to give up, they're back together.
They went their way, I went mine, so I don't know what happened. Yes, it's wonderful.
Father and daughter will spend the next few days getting to know each other. This is one Thanksgiving they'll never forget. Bill Brown, Channel 8 News, Tampa, Florida.
From the young to the elderly, these are the foreign pioneers who will start a new life in a land far different from the country that bears their cultural heritage. They say their arrival marks the end of a mission, the quest to survive. Escaping persecution and the threat of further political oppression and concentration camps, these Laotian and Vietnamese refugees fled by boat and endured famine and death until they reached safety. And a universal feeling of thanksgiving is shared by all in this chapel. This Laotian Mass has special meaning. These people are giving thanks to God for the blessing of a new life. Many arrived here with nothing more than what they were wearing, and now they have new homes, jobs, and above all, a sense of security and freedom.
To celebrate the Mass of Thanksgiving to God and to all the gifts He has given to these people is an external sign, to give thanks to God.
This is also the harvest season in their homeland, and as part of their cultural heritage, fruit and other offerings are given as a gesture of thanks and a symbol of peace. That's one tradition that wasn't left behind. These food items will be given to a new group of refugees who will arrive next week. There's new hope and new optimism to look forward to, a new direction and a new life. In the true spirit of Thanksgiving, these people are indeed the new pilgrims. Uma Pemaraju, Channel 8 News, Fort Worth.
It has not been an easy wait for Kathy Gandy. 6 months ago, her husband Kip, a Marine, was sent to the Mideast. He later became part of the Marine contingency patrolling war-shattered Beirut. It was a frightening time for Kathy. There was the constant fear of a terrorist attack or an exploding mine. But tonight, her soldier came home.
I'm just thankful that God gave me the chance to make it home to Dallas, Texas, and Denison, my hometown, just in time for Thanksgiving.
Gandy says he was well treated by the Lebanese people, and he says the Marines' presence helped to keep the peace.
There were there was a lot of fighting going on, and it seemed like the minute the American forces landed and American flag was hoisted on the soil, it seemed like that just about all the fighting stopped. It seems like they respect the United States and respect what we stand for.
But for Kathy, the politics of Beirut was something she'd rather not think about.
Right now, all I'm thankful is that he is home and this ordeal is over, and I'll have him for a while.
Peter Van Sant, Channel 8 News at DFW Airport.
Fred Wilson has been divorced twice. He had 2 children by his first wife, and his second marriage lasted 2 months. It's taken some adjusting, but he's making it. He keeps a tidy apartment in North Dallas. He sees his teenage son often, and he is active in a group called Parents Without Partners. This morning he baked 3 loaves of pepperoni bread and mixed a fruit salad for the group's Thanksgiving Day dinner.
Those are very important days, particularly in a single person life. With your kids, you don't know where else to go. A lot of people down here don't have their family with them. There's nobody to be with on that day.
Parents Without Partners is a family group with family dinners, dances, and outings. At today's dinner, those who could brought their children. Those who couldn't could at least feel at home with their friends and with their children. The group has lost some members through marriage. Many met their mates at the group's activities. Fred says Parents Without Partners has been good for him. It's brought him close to people who have shared many of his experiences, who have been there themselves. And now he's more independent.
I'm comfortable with me, and that's it's important.
But most people still think of Thanksgiving as a family affair, and by arranging their own cover dish dinner, this group has maintained the family quality of Thanksgiving. Maggie Rivas, Channel 8 News.
Is there something you want to tell Santa what you want for Christmas?
The holidays can be a magical time. Children wishing for gifts, shopping centers filled with holiday cheer and good feelings.
What do you want? So what?
Yeah, I enjoy it, especially with this one. This is the first one I've had, so it's more fun now because she gets to see all the excitement.
But what's exciting for some over the holidays is depressing for others.
Kind of anticipating it. Vice Center, you want to take a couple deep breaths and try to calm down a little bit?
It's going to be a particularly difficult time for people who are lonely, who don't have their family with them, for people who are already depressed, and for those who've lost someone.
Psychologist Lee Doyle says the holidays are one of the busiest times of the year for counseling, particularly for those who are away from loved ones.
Oftentimes people do not create new families and or new friends in which they can have close feelings with when they lose their old ones. And when we can't share, which is a combination of both giving and receiving, then oftentimes that causes depression.
Psychologists say the best way to fight off the holiday blues is to spend the days with other people. Don't be alone. They also say that giving, making others happy, can warm your own heart. Peter Van Sant, Channel 8 News.
The home fire was burning and a traditional Thanksgiving dinner was served at this home in Irving, but the guests weren't used to turkey and dressing. They're SMU students from foreign countries as far away as Poland and Japan. And if it weren't for Sandy Slattery, their student advisor, they'd be spending the holiday alone.
Most of them rarely get off of SMU's campus, and this is an opportunity to get into an American home. This is a time when we can all just be people and we interact and we talk to each other about things that we never talk about under formal situations. And they get to know each other from other countries, and I get to know them better.
Sandy's opened her home on Thanksgiving for the past 3 years. Some students won't see their friends and family for 6 years, and Sandy's caring and hospitality mean a lot.
I think it's very generous of her to make us feel we belong to a family.
It means a lot to me that she does it because she shows her friendship to me and she's accepting me as just one of her own kind.
Because of Sandy Slattery, this Thanksgiving Day was filled with warmth and friendship, and an opportunity for these foreign students to share what Thanksgiving means in our country.
Thanksgiving is a good holiday in United States.
Alice Killian, Channel 8 News.
For the few with the talent and the drive, boxing has been the ticket to success. That's why Freddie Burris and Pat Riley started this little storefront gym on the tough end of East Jefferson in Oak Cliff. Most in the afternoon, you'll find a dozen or more young men boxing or learning to box.
but not today. Today, the gloves were left hanging for a little while because you can't wear them and eat turkey at the same time.
I need some chicken.
Turkey. The people who run the gym know that some of the children in this part of Oak Cliff would not have a nice meal like this without help. So they got local jeweler Bruce Ruiz to buy them a couple of turkeys. He got his wife to help out and ended up sponsoring the first Thanksgiving dinner for the boxers and for whoever else walked in off the streets. Ruiz says he volunteered his holiday because the folks at the gym volunteer every day.
I see kids coming off the street. Instead of being involved in gangs and drugs, they come in here and become athletes. And I think that's real important. Perhaps you can't reach every young person out there, but if you can pull some off the street, you've done something good.
At Burris and Riley's gym, they've done good. Arthur Gomez won the Novice Regional Golden Gloves Championship last year. He has confidence in himself now, something he didn't have when he started here.
Well, I started boxing when I was a little boy, but I lay off and started hanging around with the wrong crowd, picking up on drugs. But now I don't do no more drugs or nothing like that. I want to become a boxer, a real boxer, you know?
A gym may seem a strange place to have Thanksgiving dinner, but not this gym, because Thanksgiving is for families. And that's what this place is. Gary Reeves, Channel 8 News.
Turkeys excite me. I like to see turkeys. I like to hear turkeys. I like to call the turkeys. I like to call turkeys to me. I even like turkeys that won't come to me.
Dr. Jim Dixon has his Ph.D. in forestry wildlife, and he's never stopped studying the Texas wild turkey. He hunts them in the spring, either with a gun or a camera, and is well known for his ability to call one up, simply attracting a turkey with the sound only a turkey understands.
I learned the turkey hunt by listening to turkeys in the woods. And of course my opportunities for that are limited. So I got those turkeys so I could watch and so I could listen. So when they're purring or when they're yelping, you can kind of see how they're operating. This is the hen yelp, made with a diaphragm. Another type call, it's easy to learn, is a box call. There's nothing more exciting than calling an old gobbler and having him strut. If you can't get excited over that, you need to be playing golf or something.
Jim is 3-time state champion turkey caller.
My goal is to try to learn more about the turkey, to have fun hunting the turkey, to become a better turkey caller. I'm not a professional turkey caller, and I just do it for fun.
Jim is a director of the National Wild Turkey Federation. He says there are about 80 times more wild turkeys today than 30 years ago, thanks to conservation efforts. And he agrees with Ben Franklin, who thought the wild turkey made the best choice for this nation's symbol. The bald eagle, of course, won out, but the turkey still has its admirers, never more so than on Thanksgiving. John Pronk, Channel 8 News, Nacogdoches.
Plymouth Rock is a precious stone. A temple enshrines the pilgrim foothold. It's a treasure of giant proportions and small dimensions. Derek and Kathy Miller expected a boulder. By comparison, they found a pebble.
I just was a little surprised to see this small little rock, but I guess over the years of weathering, maybe it just got down to this size.
Weathering indeed. Souvenir hunters chipped away Plymouth Rock. Early Americans liked it so much, they took 2/3 of it home.
People were looking for symbols of national pride, and the rock became the symbol for the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims were people with whom Americans could identify, and the rock was the strength of these people.
Mind your ears on deck! A full-scale replica of the Mayflower anchors in Plymouth Harbor. She's a living museum.
Do you think you'd want to spend 2 months on a vessel like this sailing across the Atlantic Ocean?
Steve Coker tells about the hard voyage of 102 pilgrims. For 7 years, the former schoolteacher has played Mayflower navigator Robert Coppin.
On deck, he can't break character, not for a moment.
No, I can't. For the people here, and they hear this, I cannot.
The year 1627, 7 years after the Pilgrim landing. Visitors enter a time warp at Plymouth Plantation. It is a representation of the personalities and customs of this village in the New World. The village even smells authentic. Historical interpreters blend theater with fact. They wear period costumes, do the daily chores of a 17th century farming village, speak the dialects. Deacon Samuel Fuller, the village surgeon, makes house calls.
Your harvest come in right well, I understand. I spoke with your husband some weeks past.
We lack for naught. It will be the drying of tobacco will occupy us next.
Your husband, I think he does need that tobacco, does he? He is oft phlegmatic.
He's a phlegmatic man, and I found last time my elder was a preaching, he coughed so violently, it shamed me.
This cast of pilgrims does not live up to the stereotype of simple, big-buckle Puritans. They portray the pilgrims as common people of uncommon courage, spreading forth from an ocean's edge into an unknown wilderness. Robert Riggs, Channel 8 News, Plymouth, Massachusetts.
There we go. You put one more on just to be sure. Hang on, Mojave.
Okay, would you like to go find your plate, your name, and just stand in front of your name. Don't sit down, okay?
My son's class did it when we lived in Michigan, and it was very well done then, and it was just as well done here. It gave the children a good idea about what Thanksgiving was really about.
She said you're not a pilgrim. What does she mean?
Pilgrims hats are black.
Oh, but the ladies wore white hats. And the men wore black hats.
Okay. Serve on the left.
One of the things we were trying to teach them were etiquette, manners, how to serve others, how to use 2 forks, 2 spoons, things like that.
We're supposed to put our towels on our arms and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And did you do that?
Yes.
It's been worth working, raising our crops, hasn't it? Thankful for those friendly Indians. We'd have been in a mess if they hadn't been friendly, wouldn't we? We might not even be here.
It's okay, just taste it anyway. You can decide if you don't want to eat it.
Children learn a lot easier when they have hands-on, and this was definitely hands-on.
Tomorrow, Thanksgiving, I would eat a turkey, and I might eat a duck.
They all get A's. They all pass. Etta Gerben is preparing an American Thanksgiving dinner. Her 10-year-old daughter, Christina, learned about the traditional feast at school. Christina isn't feeling well this Thanksgiving, but the Gerbens opened their home to us anyway.
This is Betty.
Peter Gerben proudly displays his pictures, memories of Romania and loved ones left behind. In his old country, Peter was a draftsman, but here he operates a lathe because he's discovered the technology for the same job in this country is more advanced than the technology he learned at home. His shelves are lined with dictionaries and books he's studying to try to educate himself. Above his books, his motivation, an American flag.
I like the President Bush is possible I like. I don't like I is possible tell you. I don't like the president. There no is possible tell this. Understand? No is possible free talking.
In the same apartment complex just across the hall, another political refugee is preparing to celebrate her family's first American Thanksgiving. Bahagu Samariam, her 3-year-old son, and her husband, a convenience store clerk, arrived in America in July after years in the Sudan. They originally escaped war-torn Ethiopia. Their apartment also holds memories of home, but it's here they want to be. They see opportunity for themselves and for their children.
I would like them to go to school and live a good life.
I want to live that in a condition all my human rights are reserved. And this is what I expect.
Catholic Charities placed both families in the apartment complex. Dozens of other agencies in Dallas and across the country help the world's political refugees resettle in America every year. For these people, the American dream is alive and well.
It's different life.
Ana Martinez, Channel 8 News.
Even though that story is from more than 30 years ago, it's a good example of the many different ways this holiday can be celebrated by all types of North Texans. And that goes for a father we want to reintroduce you to from the same year, 1991, who got to do something he hadn't done in years: sit down at the dinner table with his family for Thanksgiving.
Lord, we offer our thanks to thee.
Calvin Johnson blessed and sat at the head of the table this Thanksgiving. It's been a long time since a holiday found him at home with family.
Holidays didn't mean anything to me, as I look back on yesterdays.
That was before Calvin graduated from Help is Possible, a residential treatment program, when he spent more than 8 years addicted to crack, before he realized his life was going nowhere and he was hurting those who loved him. This year, Calvin eats from the table he once stole all the silverware to support his habit, smiles at the sister from whose closet he stole school clothes, and surrounds himself with all those he once deceived: his mother, wife, and 2 sons.
I'm very grateful and thankful today that I'm not in an institution or in jail. And my mom done put me in the ground. I'm so thankful today to say that I am alive.
Calvin's been clean since March and plans to stay that way. He goes to aftercare group therapy every week. Wednesday night, he talked about this Thanksgiving.
And this Thanksgiving means a whole lot to me. It means a great deal to me to be able to sit down, share with them, fuss about who gonna get what part of the turkey and all this, I'm there for them as well as they are for me, and it's a real joyful feeling. That really lights up my life. It lights up my life because today, I participate in their fun. I like the natural high that I have every day I wake up. I'm blessed.
I'm just so happy that I got my children here.
Calvin's mother used to spend many sleepless nights worrying about him. She spent most of Wednesday night preparing turkey and other fixings and several pies and cakes for an occasion she's prayed years for.
It's a blessing. It is a blessing to see him sitting at the table. And you know what? I thank God for, because he give him a nice little cute wife. She don't smoke, she don't drink, she don't run around, and she got a amount of kids, and that's what I thank God for.
I feel good that he's back to be my brother and not someone that I don't like or I hate, Now I can really say that I love him.
And on his 28th birthday, Calvin likes the new Calvin, too.
Life is precious, and today I'm willing to live it on life's terms.
Mama just love you. Love all of you.
Michael Hill, Channel 8 News.
A serious digestive disorder deals 13-year-old Amy Hensley of Rockwall a tough hand, but her faith and family help her play the game of life with courage and enthusiasm. The Children's Medical Center staff is also important.
They're trying their best to get me out of here, and they want to help me and stuff, and I think they really want to let me go see my family.
But before that Thanksgiving visit to grandmother and other relatives, Amy gets a dietary favorite well suited for this day: ice chips. The making of something a lot more tasty turned the children's playroom into the city's busiest and standing room only pie shop.
All right. The master pie maker.
You have a big giant pie, don't you?
They say it was better than Play-Doh, so it was pretty good. So they made cherry pies. Yeah, they decided to make cherry pies.
Is that their favorite?
Yeah, but they said they want us to eat them.
And pie makers like Kevin Ray have their favorite flavors.
Cherry and apple. Apple.
Zachary Holmes was on a roll. So was Jerry Wilkins, who created a pumpkin cherry masterpiece. He may get to go home soon.
The bad part is having to leave all this fun stuff back behind. But leaving the hospital's fun.
It's difficult anytime you have to be in the hospital, and if you have to be at the hospital on a holiday, it can even be more difficult, so that we try to make it as fun and as home-like as possible.
We can have family time doing something that we would be doing at home, because we do.
A serious digestive disorder deals 13-year-old Amy Hansley of Rockwall a tough hand, but her faith and family help her play the game of life with courage and enthusiasm. The Children's Medical Center staff is also important.
They're trying their best to get me out of here, and they want to help me and stuff, and I think they really want to let me go see my family.
But before that Thanksgiving visit to grandmother and other relatives, Amy gets a dietary favorite well suited for this day: ice chips. The making of something a lot more tasty turned the children's playroom into the city's busiest and standing room only pie shop.
Right. The master pie maker. You have a big giant pie, don't you?
They say it was better than Play-Doh, so it was pretty good. So they made cherry pies. Yeah, they decided to make cherry pies.
Is that their favorite?
Yeah, but they said they want us to eat them.
And pie makers like Kevin Ray have their favorite flavors.
Cherry and apple.
Zachary Holmes was on a roll. So was Jerry Wilkins, who created a pumpkin cherry masterpiece. He may get to go home soon.
The bad part is having to leave all this fun stuff back behind. But leaving the hospital's fun.
It's difficult anytime you have to be in the hospital, and if you have to be at the hospital on a holiday, it can even be more difficult, so that we try to make it as fun and as home-like as possible.
We can have family time doing something that we would be doing at home, because we definitely would be in the kitchen.
The pie shop helps patients forget, if only for a little while, the treatment and the discomfort of their medical problem. And once the patient pastries are baked in the hospital kitchen, they're delivered. Room service. So the young bakers get their just desserts. Dennis Johnson, Channel 8 News.
The commonly accepted version of American history teaches that Columbus discovered America in 1492, and that a little more than a century later, America celebrated its first Thanksgiving.
The big family gatherings were always a part of our culture. You know, we've been practicing these traditions and ceremonies for thousands and thousands of years.
Hilton Quiton is an American Indian of Kiowa descent. For his family, the Thanksgiving feast is not held in remembrance of an event that took place in the 1600s. Instead, it's carrying out an honored cultural tradition of celebrating family unity. It's one of many family gatherings year-round.
We've always believed that, you know, that respect and honor and love that, you know, comes from a family should be carried over into everything.
Let's make an M for Mom. M for Mama.
Quiton is handing down those cultural lessons to his children, but he, like other Native Americans, faces a challenge.
Today, Native people are on the very, very bottom of the economic scale and the social scale. We have the teenage suicide rate that's 4 times the national average. Most of that comes from the constant bombardment of negative images in popular culture that we see every day.
American Indian activist Susan Harjo speaks out against negative stereotypes. Like the name of the Washington football team, the Redskins. Harjo says going to Washington games can be insulting.
People will come up and poke me and say, "You're an Indian, aren't you? You're a real Indian." It would never occur to me to go up to someone and start poking them or touching them and saying, "You're a real white man, aren't you?"
All we ask is for the same respect and dignity that are afforded to other, you know, ethnic cultures.
As his own father taught him ancient customs, so Hilton Quiton is teaching the same traditions to his children.
We want to offer a prayer.
Those traditions include respecting others and striving for respect in return. Ana Martinez, Channel 8 News.
The Pelez family is far from home, but very grateful that 2.5-month-old PJ is recovering from heart surgery. As they visit him, 6-year-old Amy can't help but think about what she's going to make for her younger brother. 2 floors above the intensive care unit, there's also serious work being done in the playroom. Or should I say, the pie room.
Here, rolling the ball. Good boy. You want to put your name on your pie? We'll bake it, and then we'll bring it back up, and you can eat it for Thanksgiving.
You want to put your filling in?
It's not the 60s, but there were flower children here. Amy Pelez and a friend were on a roll.
That's pretty big.
Her father kept track of the ingredients.
All right, keep going.
Okay, he's adding more water.
Keep going. We need more.
In a forest of IV poles and tubing, young patients can forget, at least for a little while, about their medical treatment. But there's something very therapeutic about dough, apple, cherry, and pumpkin fillings.
They can roll the dough and pound it and knead it and get some of that excess frustration or energy that they have. They can get that out in their baking of the pie. It also is something that they've done themselves.
And let 6-year-old Brian Malone tell you himself about the fine art of crust making.
And we just kind of rolled it out. We're going to make too many pies. We're going to cut it in half and sell it.
9-year-old Matthew Parker's apple creation is a present for his grandmother.
She'll probably like it.
She might ask you to make some more for her.
They're concerned about not only their physical state, but their emotional state, and this helps a lot.
And it helps that someone else cooks and delivers the pastries to the young bakers. On Thanksgiving, yes, you can have your pie and eat it too. Dennis Johnson, Channel 8 News.
What is that location at the free truck driver meal?
At 514 at the rest area.
514, then go.
It's all the talk along Interstate 10 this Thanksgiving.
Turkey with all the trimmings, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, loads of different desserts, all free for just truck drivers.
This is mashed potatoes.
For the 7th straight year, this rest stop near Kerrville has been turned into a trucker's cafeteria.
In the blue car right up there. Thank you.
Tara Hernandez and her mother, Glenda Evans, started the tradition of feeding truckers free turkey and trimmings. Mom, family, and friends volunteer to work the rest stop on the eastbound side, while Tara and other volunteers from civic groups or churches work at the westbound stop. Between them, they'll feed over 400 truckers or any travelers that want a free hot meal on Thanksgiving.
Many of them say they can't believe people are out here to give them something free that they've never had. You know, they can't believe we don't charge for it. We will not take donations from them for it. We want them to enjoy themselves and just to know we appreciate them.
We've been going all over 48 states for years and never seen nothing like this. We really appreciate it too.
I heard about it all the way out in Arizona as the truckers was talking about it on the CB, talking about how friendly and kind everybody was down in Texas, and they were serving a Thanksgiving dinner.
It really impresses them that we would care enough to come out and stay out in the cold weather just to say thank you to them. Because everything we get in the United States comes by truck. You like sugar cream?
The food is donated by various organizations around Kerrville and cooked by the volunteers. For the truckers, it's not as good as being home for Thanksgiving, but it's sure a lot better than truck stop food.
Oh, truck stop menu's the same all over the place. I think they got a cook follow me around from 48 to 48, man. He's the same guy, goes everywhere I go.
John Pronk, Channel 8 News, near Kerrville.
All right, gentlemen, there's just one of me now, so y'all be patient. There's just one of me.
Rip Parker faithfully feeds the homeless on the streets of Dallas. Parker passes out sandwiches from the back of his van every day of the week like clockwork.
Do these cheese, then we'll get the bologna. I got more bologna up front.
Cold luncheon meat tastes like steak to the hungry crowd. It's the one meal the homeless can count on receiving each evening.
Yeah, he got a big heart. He's a good guy. He's real nice. He always treated me nice, you know, since I've been here, you know. But, you know, he give you food and give you clothes and everything, you know, and he help you, you know.
Okay, set for the next stop.
Parker spends 2 to 3 hours going to 5 places where the homeless congregate. He started serving the homeless 6 years ago. Parker was moved to help by the sight of men sleeping on a sidewalk near the farmer's market downtown.
Something just said, Rip, get out of the car and see if you can help these men.
He gave them candy bars, the next day donuts, later peanut butter sandwiches, until one thing led to another. Parker is a living testament to a simple Bible verse.
To him, to whom much is given, much is required. And a lot of people just sort of gloss over that. They don't think of it as a commandment, when it really is. It's not an option. If you've been given a lot, you ought to share. We're all brothers and sisters in Christ.
Parker teaches the virtues of sharing to Sunday school children and enlists their help in making sandwiches. He also delivers a lesson from the street.
don't do drugs and alcohol because you literally become a slave to it. That's what I'm looking for right now, gentlemen.
Many homeless people are victims of alcohol and drug addictions.
I don't care if they're on drugs or alcohol or whatever, they're still hungry and they're still human beings and they're still loved by God. And people forget that the good Lord gravitated towards the unlovely.
Parker drives through some of Dallas' most crime-ridden neighborhoods. Friends worry about his safety, but the homeless appear very grateful for Parker's giving.
I'm glad to be down here with y'all as always. And you too, sir. God bless y'all.
You have a giant heart.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate the kind words.
Rip Parker says he's only afraid of running out of food. Robert Riggs, Channel 8 News.
Gracious Father, we bow down here.
Like many people across the country, this Dallas family is saying a prayer of thanksgiving. But there are so many of them here, they need a microphone to do it.
We thank you and we praise you. We lift up your name, Heavenly Father, wherever we go.
The gathering of nearly 100 relatives was the work of Ophelia Garner.
I just began to reminisce on time and came back up and I said, it's 5 generations. I said, you know, this is something that really needs to be observed and noted, because in today's time that we live in, we barely can get to the 3rd generation.
Garner is the granddaughter of this woman, 97-year-old Elnora Gardner, who is the matriarch of the family. Elnora's daughter, Era, says the family has a lot to be thankful for.
It's a blessing to be here, and it's a blessing for my mom to be yet alive at 97 and to have all of her children here but 2. So, and all of the grand and great-grand and the great-great-grands. It's just a blessing.
And family members in all generations did their best to express their thanks to the oldest and dearest family member by making it a memorable one. From her daughters to her great-great-grandchildren. It was an emotional event for everyone involved.
It's a wonderful thing to see what God has really done for our family. So it means so much to me. It means a whole lot.
And it was clear that it also meant a lot to Elnora Gardner, who was able to see, hear, and feel the impact of the family she started so many years ago.
I wanted to be able to leave a good moment in Mama's ear and let Mama see that she is really, really loved and appreciated. What did he do? He opened up.
God bless y'all.
Carmen Ainsworth, Channel 8 News.
You know, I'm hoping somebody will read this or see this and say, well, if this guy can do it, I can do it.
Frank Salas of Dallas is not your average runner. When he was 3, a car accident left him partially paralyzed on his right side. Today, at 29, he works as the Assistant Director of Security at Fountain Place in downtown Dallas. But his passion is running, ever since he began in the fall of '96.
After that first turkey trot, I just enjoyed it so much. I went home and I looked for another race.
It all began when a friend challenged Frank and teased him that he couldn't finish the 8-mile race.
I knew he could do it. There was this many times when he'd say he'd hate for people to view him as anything other than normal. So he always wanted people to say that he's just a normal person, and that's the way I've always seen him.
3, 2, 1, go!
The turkey trot has become a race not for a few elite runners, but for everybody else, and mostly for fun. It is a family event with lots of kids and dogs, and runners pleased enough just to finish.
And so you have people such as Frank, and you have people who sit at home most of the year, but on Thanksgiving, they're going to come down to the Dallas YMCA Turkey Trot.
The race is huge, the biggest in the state, and it keeps getting bigger every year, partially because new runners see this race as a challenge, a starting point. That's what happened with Frank. He's even run a number of marathons now, each of those 26 miles long.
Don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do. You can do anything if you set your mind to it. You can do anything.
The best in the field finished just under 40 minutes. Frank took about twice as long. Still, he was ahead of thousands. And his family and friends were there to congratulate him one more time, reminding Frank of what he has to be thankful for.
I've got a loving family, friends that really care about me, and I'm able to do this.
Dave Evans, Channel 8 News.
Chris Johnson and Brandy Mills get ready for their Thanksgiving wedding.
I'm as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Chris and Brandy chose Thanksgiving because they are thankful that together they've turned their lives around.
I was a pretty bad apple. A lot of trouble, a lot of times, but I'm not going to get in any more trouble because she keeps me grounded in reality.
I was in an abusive relationship, got clear of that, and just real topsy-turvy, and things have been, I've never had anything feel more right.
The couple got help from the Wilkinson Center in Dallas, a foundation designed to help people get back on their feet. Chris got a good job with UPS.
Yeah, that's a pretty one.
Brandy volunteers at the Family Place thrift shop.
There's a lot of people out there that are really good people that just need a little help, and one person can do that. They can make a difference.
I, Chris, take thee, Brandy.
To be my wedded wife.
To be my wedded wife.
I, Brandy, take thee, Chris.
To be my wedded husband.
To be my wedded husband.
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Chris, you may kiss your bride.
The families are also thankful.
I want you to meet somebody.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Granny.
Randy, we're thrilled to have you in the family. You're more
You
than
need to
Oh,
welcome.
come meet my Aunt Carol.
It's been a year of lessons learned, and we're really grateful for that.
Anybody out there that's having problems, just keep trying. It'll work itself out eventually.
Don Wall, Channel 8 News.
A trip to Plymouth Plantation in Plymouth, Massachusetts is like taking a trip into the 17th century. Everything in the village is a replica of the early days of our country, right down to the animals. When pilgrims on the Mayflower settled the New World, they brought with them many four-legged friends. But these animal ancestors are very different from today's barnyard friends. Now, this pig's got long hair. What's the purpose of that?
It's for protection from the elements and the sun, being that these pigs were used a lot, kept a lot outdoors and used a lot out in fields and stuff. They needed more protection than the modern pigs that are kept in barns.
Well, I'll tell you what, those are the cutest little pigs, and I've got to take one back home with me. Now, which one? This little piggy went to market. This little piggy, remember that? This little piggy. Did you ever do that? Your toes?
Yeah.
This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy bit wee 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 all the way home. Wee 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 wee. No. Never mind. Just forget that. Workers at Plymouth put as much into recreating the past as they put into caring for their animals. Now, the one thing I notice is that these sheep have tails. Sheep today don't have tails.
Most sheep today do have tails. They're just taken off. And here, because we want our sheep to look correct for the 17th century, we leave the tails on.
Every animal was an important addition to the Pilgrim family. Today, every animal is an important reminder of our heritage. With an animal tale, Jack Hanna, Channel 8 News.
Shocked and amazed, but grateful.
A cramped hotel room may seem a strange place to celebrate Thanksgiving, but for J.J. Washam and his family, it's the best ever.
But I'm thanking God for the life of my son, for my family to continue as it has.
We felt like we had our Thanksgiving back on last Thursday, when he came out of recovery.
Looking at him now, it is hard to believe that last week, doctors gave Washam just a 50% chance of surviving. When the bonfire came down, J.J. was trapped underneath. He lost his spleen, his kidney, and more than half his blood.
Just, had this fear just run through my body, and just, I don't think I'll ever feel anything like that.
But it's given him new perspective.
I don't think could have been a better Thanksgiving ever, even though I'm not at home, with all my relatives and stuff and around the big table, but it's definitely the most to be thankful for.
He is thankful for the friends, many he's never met, who signed the cards that paper his room. Thankful for the school kids who colored cards.
And then he says, "Do not do this again."
And they are most thankful for the friends back home
and for Aggies everywhere.
And these people just shower you and comfort you and make you feel so good. And I can't thank them enough.
This is the medal.
But with so much to be thankful for, there is still sadness.
I lost my roommate, Lucas Kimmel.
When Kimmel was laid to rest in Corpus Christi, JJ was still in the hospital. His fellow freshmen were pallbearers.
It says in memory of Lucas Kimmel.
JJ will wear his name on the medal he'll wear on his cadet uniform.
It's been real hard for me because our outfit has a motto, and we're all or none.
When 90,000 turned out for the vigil at the bonfire, JJ joined them. It was his first close-up look at the place where he lost a dozen friends. Words can't capture his feelings, but the look on his face says it all.
Happy Thanksgiving.
The mood was upbeat at Luby's on University Drive, even though employees were dishing out turkey instead of eating it.
I love it. As long as I get home, get some sweet potato pie, I'll be A-OK.
From the youngest worker to the oldest employee, Lupe Castro.
Everybody all right?
They were happy to serve.
It's special for me because I love to keep my customers happy. That's as long as I can.
Luby's is where we found MedStar workers hunting turkey to go.
But we've met a lot of good people today in bad situations, and hopefully we're making some kind of difference out there.
Video store workers saw lots of customers who believe TV follows turkey.
It's a day that I take it easy and I relax, and I like to get a blockbuster movie and just kind of drift off into Wonderland and watch a movie.
But flat tires happen on holidays too. That's why Ahmed Abdi is working at this Berry Street tire store.
First thing in the morning, about 8 o'clock, a lot of people came in since then till now. We still been busy.
And what kind of meal are you looking forward to later today? Will you get something?
Oh yeah, they're cooking right now, just waiting for the dinner tonight.
And a dozen firefighters are on duty here at Station 2 downtown, home of the only working fire pole in the city of Fort Worth. And while there are chores, this fire station family will sit down to a nice turkey dinner. Do you all really eat as well as we all think?
Better.
Karen Kelly, Channel 8 News, Fort Worth.
This will be a very special Thanksgiving for Betty Pickard. Betty has come from Oklahoma with her husband Neil and her grandson to visit her son, a son she hasn't seen since the day he was born 24 years ago.
It's Happy Thanksgiving Day, and this is your birth mother.
No.
Huh? Can I give you a hug?
Wade Purcell is adopted. He's never met his biological mother until now.
This is so neat.
For years, his adoptive and biological mothers had been searching for each other. Finally, through the internet, this day happens.
I've been a nervous wreck, and when you open the door, all of that nervous energy, it just went away. I was calm.
I've always been wondering about who my real parents were. On Thanksgiving, normally it's families that gets real together, but it's different now because life is different at this moment.
This was in your nursery.
Marilyn Wink of Saxe adopted Wade when he was just weeks old.
As you know, he's deaf, and so we had to learn some sign language, and we overcame that. And I had promised Wade that I would find his birth mother if at all possible.
Everything that I've missed out on.
They'll have a modest Thanksgiving dinner, but for everyone, this is a day they'll always give thanks for.
You couldn't ask for anything better. A lot of thanks to Marilyn. Without her strength and keeping her promise to her son, they would have not found me. And I thank her, and she's part of my family now. I'm not letting her go.
John Pronk, Channel 8 News, Saxe.
At the Goldens' home in Kennedale, the atmosphere matches their name, and so do the turkeys. Bronze, plump, and fried.
It just retains the juice, and it just tastes unbelievable, especially with the Cajun spices that go inside the turkey.
So what's the secret? Is it the spices?
Actually, the secret's probably the good friends that are here with us when we do it.
Mike Golden is behind the apron and will prepare 10 birds for friends this year. It's a turkey frying party with all the trimmings. They even sent out emailed invitations.
Oh, Kathy and Roger? Yeah, they're supposed to be here actually right about now.
Courtney Farmer got in line. She's fixing her first Thanksgiving meal, sort of.
Mike and Joey are taking care of the turkey for me. Joey's going to take care of the stuffing for me. We have a few cans of green beans to warm up. We have the Pillsbury rolls that you can take out of the freezer. And I think the only thing I'm responsible for is gravy at this point.
Turkey frying is popular, but can also prove dangerous if not done properly. Fires have claimed numerous homes in the past several years, even lives. Well, experts say you should never leave the hot oil alone. Keep pets and children away from the cooking area. And never pour the hot oil down the drain. It could clog the plumbing. Mike is careful with each average 20-pounder he drops into the peanut oil. But not every time is perfect. That's why he keeps a fire extinguisher close by.
You certainly want to keep it away from the house, keep it away from anything that's flammable going through. As you've noticed, actually I have it on a deck area here with a piece of metal underneath that going through.
As for Courtney, she'll be fine as long as there are people around like Mike to help. But after 2 years of being chief cook, even he is thinking of passing the apron next year.
I think probably next year we may switch off to another house.
Yolanda Walker, Channel 8 News, Kennedale.
It's a work day for the firefighters at Station 4 in downtown Dallas.
It means a lot to me and a lot to the firemen to have our families up here with us today.
But it's also a day to give thanks for good food and good company.
I want to thank all the families for coming today to celebrate Thanksgiving with us.
For the 16th year, the Hyatt Regency Dallas has come to the rescue. Whipping up a Thanksgiving feast for the firefighters and their families, so they can all be together this holiday.
There's definitely a joy that you get out of seeing people so happy and so appreciative of just giving to the community.
There's turkey, ham, roast beef, and all that goes with it. Firefighters used to serving the public get a taste of being served a meal fit for a hero.
Normally we would be actually having to cook all the meal for ourselves, and so this is a great honor, great surprise for us to have a feast like this prepared for us today.
A warm meal and warm memories of a Thanksgiving shared together.
I like it because I get to be with Dad, and there's really good food.
It's nice to have all the small kids all the way up through the grown kids, and some of our kids are even in college. Being at a fire station, we're one big family. We kind of try to consider ourselves as one big family.
Well, we usually have 1 or 2 cars on the showroom. That bread table over there is a desk with a computer.
But on Thanksgiving at Great Day Used Cars, they move the Trailblazers out, bring the turkey in, and serve all who walk through the door. It started 4 years ago with a simple question.
I asked her what she wanted for an anniversary.
Larry Staton expected a stock answer.
Diamond necklace, yeah.
But got a surprise.
She said, I'd like to share Thanksgiving with everybody we can. So that's how it started. It's very small.
The feast has grown. Crowds gathered before the doors opened at noon.
Because I'm always scared to death that nobody's going to come. And last year, when I looked out at 11:45, nobody was out there.
Morning, how are y'all? How are you today?
Sweet potatoes! With the crowd swelling dramatically from the way this all started just a few years ago, the Statons wonder how much longer they'll be able to do it. Each year they wonder if this will be the last one. Volunteers now pitch in, carving turkey.
Oh, this is a smoked turkey.
Piling on potatoes and ladling gravy. The food gets them in the door. The Statons hope they leave with something more.
They have somebody who cares, and for one day a year, they're my family.
Michael Ray, Channel 8 News, McKinney.
9-year-old Vicky Ramirez doesn't feel good. Being sick on Thanksgiving stinks.
It's not good.
No.
Because you miss your family. You miss your family.
Vicky and other young patients at Children's Medical Center are making the best of it.
Crushed sugar and cinnamon.
by making pies.
Apple? Okay. All right.
It's a little bit of normal for ill children in an unfamiliar place.
You're supposed to be in the hospital on Thanksgiving.
No.
Where would you rather be?
If somebody has eaten dinner.
While they might find it a little tough to find a reason to smile, their parents have no trouble giving thanks. 4-year-old Damian Vasquez survived a quadruple transplant and recent infection.
I'm thankful for him still being here with us.
He'll be able to enjoy his cooked creation in his hospital room later. Vicky Ramirez, recovering from a ruptured appendix, still can't eat and misses.
Mashed potatoes.
She's assembling her pie for an eternally grateful mother.
It's probably going to be the best cherry pie I've tasted.
Nelson Johnson's family is spending Thanksgiving with relatives. They're driving 570 miles from Killeen to Springfield, Missouri. He's paying about half of what he paid for gas last summer.
When it was real high, it called me like $95. Now it called me about down about 50.
When we visited this same Collin County gas station on July 4th, a gallon of unleaded regular cost $1.21 more than it does today. That makes Gene Allen happy. He's traveling from Houston to Okmulgee, Oklahoma, about 500 miles.
A tank of gas probably about $40 now, and it was almost $100 before.
Brian Coffenauer of Houston is taking his family to Pryor, Oklahoma. When gas hovered around $4 a gallon, things got tough.
For my job, I travel a lot. I travel about 1,000 miles a week, and it's made our capabilities of paying our mortgage and utility bills much easier.
The Coffenauers, the Allens, and the Johnsons say cheaper gas made it easier for them to hit the road for the holidays.
You get twice as far as you did last year, this summer.
It makes it feel better. I mean, at least you can make the trip without whining about it the entire time.
Pent-up pride and patriotism at Terminal B today as local families awaited their soldiers coming home for R&R.
He's been in Iraq since March, and we'll have to return, so it's going to be a wonderful Thanksgiving. A lot to be thankful for.
Margie Ambrose brought her granddaughters today to wait on their favorite fighter, Uncle Mark Ambrose.
We barely get to see him any, and me and my sister really miss him a lot. So that's what I'm thankful for.
Nearby, Bill Wimberly's waiting on his nephew, Taylor.
It's going to be a great Thanksgiving. We're a very pro-America family. My father was in World War II, I was in Vietnam, and now my nephew's in Iraq. So it's going to be a great homecoming.
And just a few minutes later, the homecomings happened. North Texas families celebrating so much this season with service members home for a family feast, giving thanks for the greatest gift, each other.
Left side. Left side.
4 vans and a big yellow school bus hit the road at 6 o'clock Thursday morning.
They already know us. They just see the bus, and a lot of them know that we're picking up.
They ran for 12 hours straight, constant pickups and drop-offs from homeless shelters, park benches, public housing, anywhere. More than 900 people headed to the Victory Temple Ministry Thanksgiving tradition. This is the 17th year.
They think it's just a meal, but we give them everything. We provide everything for them. The hygiene, the blankets, the haircut, the nails, the makeover, the clothes, the blankets, the beanie caps, all that.
It is all that to Jamie Jefferson and her 2 daughters. They didn't have much planned for dinner.
Just barely, probably bologna sandwiches.
Jefferson is trying to finish trade school. She isn't working.
Come next month, I don't even know if I'm going to even have a place to stay or a roof to put over my girls' heads come next month. And then we're just barely making it, and it's just hard.
But the spa treatment, good food, and clothing has softened the blow.
It makes me feel better. At least you look at myself differently.
The food, clothes, 2,000 Justin boots, and the time, all donated.
I love this. I would rather be here helping out people than I would rather be at home lounging around and eating.
This Marine family chose to spend their Thanksgiving giving.
Nowadays, a lot of the children take things for granted, and I think they need to know what the real world is like.
Down the hallway and throughout the church, there's a flurry of energy and hope.
I've been coming here for the past 4 years.
This struggling 18-year-old is estranged from her family and pays her own rent.
When I come here, it makes me feel like I'm home.
And that's the point. giving those with little to nothing something to be thankful for. Even if it is only just for one day. In Fort Worth, Darla Miles, Channel 8 News. There's no mistaking the damage done by feral hogs. All of this rooting was probably done by only one hog at Marshall Creek near Grapevine Lake. Neighboring homeowners in South Lake have spent thousands of dollars repairing hog damage in their front yards.
The wild hogs are using the lake to travel. They'll get on a creek bed and they'll follow that creek bed plumb to downtown Dallas if they can find a path to go.
That's one reason the Army Corps of Engineers allows hog hunting on their property. The Grapevine Lake Wildlife Management Area is 2,500 acres of free range.
We basically allow people to hunt them year-round on our property, and there's no bag limit.
The program is only a year old, but there are already plans to expand.
Feral hogs, we're going to come up with some creative ways to probably open that up a little bit more to folks in the future. Possibly some trapping, permitted. We'd like to do some youth hunts.
But in the short term, park rangers are preparing for the weekend holiday hunting rush.
We're right down the road from 2 million people, and it's a quick hunt. You know, you can get a hunt in Thursday morning before Thanksgiving.
So hunt as many hogs as you want. At Grapevine Lake, Darla Miles, Channel 8 News.
America. Thanksgiving is a time for families when the trimmings include smiles and careful thought about the most valuable things in life.
Just by being with my family and then appreciating the time we have here.
For these families, time with Dad is cut short by red tags and bags packed for Afghanistan.
He's lost a few friends, so it's good to know that he's still here with us.
Captain Gentry Squires is headed to Afghanistan for the first time. He was home just long enough to see his daughter Mila born 9 days ago.
It's always hard to leave, but especially on a holiday when you're supposed to be sitting at home with your family. I'm lucky I'm here with them, and they're here with me.
It just breaks my heart for him. But when he comes home, she'll be really fun, laughing, so I think we'll be fine.
Thank you. You can pile that corn right on top of your greens.
This year, top-notch chefs served 125 troops one more meal before they said goodbye.
And when they come up and say thanks to us, really, for cooking a meal, they're putting their lives on the line.
Volunteers and veterans may have outnumbered the servicemen and women. Not one of them complained about sacrificing their time with their own families.
It's not for me. This is for other people today. I'm thankful for them, and I wanted to show them my appreciation today.
Not every soldier had a relative to share the meal, but those who did gave thanks.
Yeah. I'm taking a deep breath, getting ready for the moment when I say goodbye, but we try not to think about it though.
At the tables, extended families shared one common prayer, that every man and woman would return to happier holidays and meals served at home with family. Casey Norton, Channel 8 News.
Saying goodbye to family at the holidays can certainly be tough for anyone from any decade. What most people also wouldn't want to see is not only crime, but someone stealing from those trying to give back.
It's a familiar tone every holiday season, the sound of a Salvation Army bell ringer. Wednesday night, one of the charity's volunteers was collecting money outside of this North Dallas store when two men walked up and grabbed everything.
The kettle was chained to the tripod, so they couldn't get the kettle off without taking the whole tripod with them.
The female volunteer was terrified, but not injured. This woman saw the suspects acting strange in the parking lot moments before the crime.
And my lights were shining straight on them.
She asked us not to reveal her name, but says she told the manager of the store her concerns, and minutes later was being asked more questions.
Can you describe them? And I described them the best that I could. And I said, why? And she just said, well, the Salvation lady was robbed.
I've been running for Jesus a long time.
The Salvation Army spent Thanksgiving feeding thousands of people, and the money you put in those red kettles goes to help them year-round.
You can't help me.
Anything we lose and miss that gets stolen like that in an unfortunate incident certainly is just money away from money that would help provide services to those people. So.
The Salvation Army hasn't been able to recover the red tripod or the bucket that went along with it. And the concern is that whoever has these items may go out and try to collect donations on their own. But they say every one of their stations has a sign attached to it just like this. So be very wary that you see something like this when you make your donation this year. In Dallas, Craig Savali, Channel 8 News.
Like so many Italian restaurants in North Texas, Pasta Fina in Cleburne is actually owned and run by Albanians. The Halilis are Kosovar Albanians and especially thankful this holiday for their customers and for America itself because both helped members of the Halili family survive the Kosovo War.
And now they came to America and they're very happy here that he has a family here, the kids, the grandkids.
Papa Gino sits with sons Gino, Nick, and Jimmy, who run 5 Pasta Finas. During the Kosovo War, the boys back in Texas lost contact with their parents for 2 months, not knowing if they were alive or dead because so many relatives and friends were killed. The Halilis escaped with thousands of other refugees. In 1999, we found them in a rundown apartment in Tirana, Albania. Their sons supported them with proceeds from their restaurants and eventually brought them to Texas, too.
Ever since we came to this country has been good to us.
So this Thanksgiving, the Halilis decided to share their gratitude by inviting customers for a free turkey dinner.
We thought it was a marvelous idea.
We appreciate always what they did for us, and we are here to do whatever we can today. The United States helped our country. We like the people here. We were able to build businesses here, so we're just trying to give something back.
The Halilis are all U.S. citizens now, savoring her gifts and customs more than many, especially this one. In Cleburne, Jim Douglas, Channel 8 News.
Forget grabbing a slice of pumpkin pie. These tiny fingers are the sweetest things Jason Ford will ever have in his hands.
Daddy loves you. Daddy loves you. Wow, what a God's blessing. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just, words can't describe it.
The Fords' baby twin girls Kaylee and Kristen were conceived through in vitro fertilization, then born 2 months early. Even now, they forget to breathe sometimes.
It's a blessing, though, the technology that can help that.
They and all the premature and sick infants in Texas Health Arlington's neonatal intensive care unit are the #1 reason their parents give thanks. Many of them might not be alive without this super specialized help.
They couldn't even see it. Couldn't see any of his lungs, his heart. It was completely covered in fluid. It would have been a situation where we could have lost him.
Instead, little Jontavian McWilliams is getting better. Kaylee and Kristen are having their first meal that didn't come from a feeding tube.
He's okay. That's what I'm very thankful for.
For families here, Thanksgiving isn't just a day, it's every moment.
This gives it a whole different meaning.
Janet St. James, Channel 8 News.
As players get ready for today's big game, there's also another group of players gearing up for a game of their own.
Chefs, huddle.
That's right, the chefs from Legends, AT&T Stadium's food team, make their way every home game to the Star to meet, bond, and prepare to feed. Like a playbook, 250-pound ribeye 275, it's on.
We've got a capacity crowd today of close to 100,000, but thousands will enjoy this Thanksgiving feast today.
Because inside this Legends kitchen, it's game time.
Stadium, we have our Thanksgiving traditional turkey dinner that we are so excited to prepare. Everything from fresh turkeys to hams, sweet potato casserole, green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, fresh cranberry sauce, everything scratched in-house. We prepare everything in-house, so we just have a fabulous time doing it. You can get this in our clubs, our suites, all of our Ben Buckle locations here today at AT&T Stadium. So we've got turkey for anybody that feels like a little Thanksgiving turkey dinner today.
And did we mention desserts? We can call these the special teams of the kitchen. So don't forget that not only big plays are made on the field, but also in the kitchen. Happy Thanksgiving. In Arlington, Brian Glenn, Channel 8 News.
You know, growing up, my dad would always try to please everybody, or he would barbecue some chicken for somebody who didn't want turkey. That kind of became like the tradition at our house.
Family's important. It's what we have in this world. I mean, without family, what else do you have? Make the gravy. My aunts always make the gravy. Cooking the giblets and stirring and make sure it doesn't burn. It's all about stirring.
You gotta have a clean grill.
God. I wrote down God because I'm thankful that He's in my life now, and I'm thankful for my family that we're all going into God now. Eat. And we love to eat, as you can see.
A little seasoning.
The main tradition for us, would say would have to be, the guys always play poker late at night, and then, there's always a football around. Always, always, always.
This fire is ready to go.
I'm thankful for my friends because they help me through all of life's issues. I can't go without eating pie on Thanksgiving because my grandma makes the best pie.
All right, now that fire's going nice and good. Gonna close it up.
I have 2 daughters and we all cook together and we just have fun while we're cooking, and we bake pies and cookies, and it's just been something we've done for their whole life.
Lay them with the breast up and let them sit there for 2 to 3 hours.
See, there are 2 things I like to do. One is be with family, and the other is go to the Cowboy game. We've been season ticket holders for 25, 30 years. Then let it cook while we were at the game, and then come back and have Thanksgiving. I'll cook because I like family, but I'm going to the game. You'll have to clean up.
All right, it's been about 2.5 hours and the chicken is done. It's gonna be a great Thanksgiving.
We have to put it where the bow is facing first.
Oh.
Shane Farrar has much more experience running a lawn business than raising a daughter.
It's tough going from working hard and running crews and 14 workers to, okay, now I got a little girl.
But that's the path he and his wife, Kazia, chose after deciding to grow their family of 3 last year. After 2 in vitro attempts and 2 miscarriages, they went another route.
We've always talked about adopting. I think originally when we decided we were done having kids, we said if we ever have kids again, it'll be through adoption.
For Kazia, that decision comes with a special motivation. She was also raised as an adopted child.
I just felt so grateful and lucky that somebody was willing to do that and take a chance on me. And so I just felt like I had so much love to give still. And, I wanted to return that to somebody else.
So last October, they and their 2 sons decided to try becoming a foster family. The idea was to become a temporary home for children who needed them. But when they first saw Brianna...
I remember the second I saw her. I mean, it was like I just saw her and I was like, oh my gosh, my heart just stopped.
They knew that this is where they wanted her to stay, a decision that turned out to be just the beginning.
There would be times where we would try to be mildly discipline her, and she would just go upset, screaming, crying, kicking. It was her reacting out in the unknowingly factor. She goes to bed every night wondering, am I going to live with this family?
She'd been with 3 foster families before, 3 homes she could only begin to imagine as her own. But in May of this year, they were able to break the news that she had found her forever home.
Well, guess what we found out yesterday? What do you think? Well, what do you want to think? And she pointed straight to the family photo and said, so when do we get a new family photo?
And it took one more trip to the courthouse to make it official in October.
I mean, when we left the courtroom, she was just dancing down the aisle, leaving, and she's like, I'm adopted, I'm adopted. I mean, it was awesome.
Everybody in that courtroom knew that she was getting adopted that day.
She made sure everybody knew it.
A long journey that gives new perspective on what home for the holidays can really mean.
What are you thankful for?
My family.
Your family. Did you know we're thankful for you and we love you?
Thanksgiving can be lonely when you're away from loved ones. And you can't get any further away than outer space. Maybe that's why crew members aboard the International Space Station relish their Thanksgiving meal.
Here's our turkey right here. So it's going to be in a pouch. We'll heat this up and it'll taste really good.
The astronauts' meals are made here on the ground in a special kitchen at the Texas A&M Space Food Research Institute.
So we make things like chicken fajitas, pork chops, to green beans and potatoes.
Texas A&M students mix and cook the ingredients. The food is then stuffed in small pouches and placed in a high-pressure oven. The process kills microbes, making sure the meal stays fresh for 3 to 5 years.
This is the candied yam. This is a sweet potato.
It's really good. It tastes just like what you would get on the ground. I mean, it's good.
Before each mission, crew members pick out which foods they like and taste tests. Then the orders are sent up every 3 months in a supply rocket. Mealtime in zero gravity certainly looks challenging, but favorite foods can help with the rigors of space.
Comfort's really important, especially when it comes to food.
It's going to be a little bit different for us up here in space, but I'm going to try to make it as much like home as we can.
This year, the 2 American astronauts will share their turkey meals with French and Russian crew members, celebrating the spirit of Thanksgiving more than 200 miles above the Earth. Tim Wetzel, Channel 8 News.
Near Bonneview and Ledbetter and Oak Cliff, some neighbors call it an area where their needs are high, but resources are often too hard to come by.
Here, Wanda, grab these.
Regina Jefferson and Wanda Miller with Safe Haven say they understand the community's challenges. This Thanksgiving, their housing organization will be preparing meals for dozens of vulnerable residents who need an extra hand. Safe Haven says demand for food and other services has increased this year.
I see a lot more homelessness. I see a lot more poverty, and I see a lot more people that is coming for the, donations and help.
Safe Haven runs its support program for people with mental illnesses out of a cramped unit in a local apartment complex. They say it's close to their clients who are struggling with bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, depression, and other illness.
A jar of peanut butter makes a difference for these people, but so we try to make sure we have something for them.
The staff says a long-time partnership with All My Sons Moving and Storage is helping the agency once again feed individuals and families for Thanksgiving.
When you guys deliver those meals to those families,
yes,
what's the reaction that you guys get?
They are overjoyed. They are grateful.
All My Sons delivered 55 turkeys to Safe Haven. The staff will cook and distribute meals Thanksgiving Day.
This is what these people need. They need people that love them. They need people that care for them, that are willing to put ourselves out on a limb for them.
These neighbors say it's all about giving back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And supporting others where they can. Damon Fernandez, Channel 8 News.
The year is almost over. It's time to reflect, give thanks, and count our blessings.
A long list of ways I've been blessed this year, but always I start with the family, my wife, my daughter. They're doing well, they're healthy, my daughter is thriving. One of the first things that comes to mind is we got to take one of those once-in-a-lifetime trips with the family earlier this summer. So we got to go overseas and go to Europe, and we enjoyed that a lot. So that was a real blessing to be able to do that this year.
We want to know, what are you thankful for this year? So, on a gorgeous fall morning, we went to Fort Worth's Sundance Square and asked people to write down their answers and hang them on our tree of blessings.
So Rick, all we're doing today is asking folks what they're most thankful for this year.
This year, I'm thankful for having the opportunity to visit Texas and Fort Worth.
This year especially, I'm thankful. My son's going to be Dr. Watson this year, so he's really worked hard, and we've struggled. It's been a tough road, but he's doing it.
The most thankful is my family. They love each other, and they're healthy.
And what are you thankful for the most this year?
Probably just my parents, and they're accepting of anything that I do, and they're really supportive of everything that me and my brother do, and it's really nice to have that.
Tell me about Big Brother. What makes him such a cool big brother?
He is honestly probably one of the nicest and most caring and genuine people that I've ever met in my life.
My son has some medical issues, and we are just thankful that he can go to school. He gets up and goes to college every day. He works, he never complains, and I'm thankful that my daughter understands that, and she's a go-getter, and I just have a feeling someday she's gonna do something for him that's incredible.
So Patrick, tell us what you're most thankful for this year.
My children. I have a 21-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son.
My daughter has been through some trials, but she's standing strong.
This year I'm really thankful for my children and my husband. Both of my children suffer with autoimmune diseases, so it's one week things are good, the next weeks are bad, and you take every day, one day at a time, and you just realize what's important in your life and what there is to be thankful for.
Going to be new for us too.
If 2020 was normal,
what we don't do is stay home.
Rockwall's Missy and Barry Buchanan would spend Thanksgiving with their kids and grandkids.
Sometimes we go to California, sometimes we go to the hill country.
But 2020 is not normal.
All I was told is that to expect a large box.
And Grandma and Grandpa already arrived.
Do you remember when that package came? What happened? That's hilarious.
With COVID keeping the family apart this Thanksgiving.
What do you think about that? I wanted to make it memorable.
Missy found a way to make it to California and the hill country.
It just kind of popped in my mind. I was trying to think of something like stand-in grandparents, you know, and being there without being there. And
a little bit scary when I walked in the front door.
So thus the cardboard cutout.
We put it in our front window. We knew it'd freak out the neighbors, which was pretty great.
And we walked out, we opened the door of our garage, and they're like right in front of us.
Though the holidays will be different,
we'll make the best of it.
The Buchanans are thankful.
I want to show our younger generations that we can be a part, but we can still be a part of each other's lives and our celebrations.
The grandparents always find a way to make it fun.
Are pretty much watching over the entire downstairs. So.
That's not what I was expecting. It's given everybody a good laugh and a good moment of just, like lightness in a pretty heavy year.
In Rockwall, I'm Alex Rosier.
That's what they're looking for right now. That's what they want.
The Thanksgiving rush.
So right now, these bad boys are in high demand. I mean, people are wanting these all over the place.
Well, it's more like a Thanksgiving sprint this year for Smokey John's Barbecue.
So right now, we're about 3 to 4 times where we normally would be for a Thanksgiving holiday.
As more people choose to stay put instead of travel, pre-orders for turkeys are flying in, and they had to stop taking them Thursday because they're overwhelmed. It doesn't help that Greenberg, one of the biggest turkey providers for the Metro, burned down earlier this month, along with 87,000 turkeys.
I've had people come in and actually say, I normally get mine from Greenberg, but we can't get anything. Can you guys help us?
We have a lot of pies to bake.
And Megan Wilkes is sprinting just as fast.
We already have sold out of our deliveries.
An owner for Emporium Pies, Thanksgiving is usually her busiest time of the year, but in 2020, it's ramped up. The demand being driven by online pre-orders.
We do expect that we will sell out before Sunday, so if you really want a pie, you better get on it quick.
And here's something you may not have thought of. A smaller gathering may mean a smaller turkey. Kroger has actually increased its turkey selection to accommodate, but don't be surprised if you go somewhere and can't find a smaller one. If you're not sensing the theme yet, well, this kitchen says it all. Start planning for that big meal right now. In Dallas, I'm Matt Howerton.
Thanksgiving is often filled with food, homemade recipes, or even store-bought. No judgments, it's just a day to be thankful for family. For many, though, Thanksgiving 2020 isn't the same.
It's a different type of tradition this year.
Monica Williamson lives in Plano.
My brother, who has had to work in person, is not, he will be quarantined in Carrollton. My parents in DeSoto, I'm here.
They're celebrating, but virtually on Zoom.
At 3 o'clock, we will start having our prayer.
And still a lot of food, just at their own dinner tables instead.
It's what we have to do, and all of us are very concerned about this virus, and we don't want to make ourselves or anyone else sick, and so we just want to do the best thing.
It's the same for Michelle Kirkland in Dallas. She celebrated with her side of the family last night and will do another Zoom meeting with her husband's family today.
No, not the best Thanksgiving, but that's okay because it's so much worse for so many people.
Michelle is thinking of the more than 260,000 people in the United States who died from COVID-19.
When I think about the holidays this year, it's kind of solemn.
She is thankful for her family's health, which is why tonight she's cooking for two with a touch of tradition.
My mom finally let go of some of her secret recipes because of the extenuating circumstances.
In Dallas, I'm Tiffany Liu.
We all live by certain truths. The sun will rise, seasons will change, and Ruth will be in the kitchen on Thanksgiving morning.
You want to plate up?
She and her husband
Ruth and Chris. You won't forget that.
have the home holidays are made for. The Parkers have been the hosts
Yeah, that's a challenge.
That's okay. I mean, it's not bad.
for years. And through everything.
My dad passed away 8 years ago. You think about it, but you got to go forward. Sorry.
And this year, a different kind of loss is also felt.
What's different is that we're not going to have this house full.
Some truths can be terrifying too. This is Thanksgiving in a pandemic. The family will not gather today because of COVID-19.
This is pumpkin pie. It's better to be safe right now than to cry in Christmas. Hi! I'm so glad to see you guys. How are you guys doing? I miss you.
But this year, the Parkers are cooking up more than what fits in an oven.
Wish we could be sitting together.
I know.
I love you.
Bye-bye. Love you too.
This drive up and drop off at the home is the safest way Ruth can think
Waiting for that pie. Oh, yeah.
of sharing Thanksgiving with her family.
COVID is not going to bring us down at all. Doggone it. How you doing, big boy? All for you.
These exchanges with her children and grandchildren are not long,
Bye-bye.
but they are enough to keep the heart happy.
Miss you. I love you guys. Love you. Thank you. You guys have a good day. I am very blessed with my life.
And the family that could not pick up, she hand-delivered to their door.
Thank you for everything. I will. All right, bye.
Ruth has been cooking Thanksgiving for decades and probably never felt more thankful than now.
If Christmas is COVID, we're going to have the same thing here again.
This year has taken so much from us.
I haven't had a hug for a long time.
Ruth
That hurts.
is going to focus on the giving. In Arlington, I'm Jobin Paniker.
How are you? Welcome. So glad you're here.
On a day steeped so much in tradition,
You don't want to come?
it is rare to find anyone here celebrating this holiday for the first time.
No, that's the first time.
This man is named Gulajan, one of more than 200 refugees invited to their first Thanksgiving. A nonprofit called Gateway of Grace hosted it in Plano.
United States are a very great and beautiful country.
On this day, Gulajan said he's just thankful to be safe. He's 34, used to work for a wireless company in Afghanistan, and he fled there in August, just 11 days before the last U.S. troops left. Today, Gulajan said he is still trying, though, to get his family out as well.
My wife, my children is in Afghanistan right now.
It's not like going to a neighboring country. America is on the other side of the world, and it has a totally different culture. So when Americans embrace them, it makes their integration into the culture that much easier.
Refugees here are not only from Afghanistan, but also Pakistan, Iraq, Kosovo, and many other places. And this is put on every year by a Dallas woman named Samira Page, originally from Iran, who was once a refugee herself.
Yes, I know what it feels like to be isolated, to be a refugee. They feel guilty that they have survived, and they have got here and they have left family behind, and that guilt is it's really hard for them to deal with. So we really want them to experience a little bit of the joy of this season.
This is the 11th year that Samira has organized a Thanksgiving for refugees, hoping each time that they come to appreciate a new tradition by simply providing a sense of belonging. In Plano, I'm Jason Whiteley.
It was pretty sad.
If you think it's a normal Thanksgiving in Argyle, you're wrong.
It was really upsetting. It really was.
And if you don't believe me, ask Brent.
We talk about him, often.
Or Mitchell.
We miss him, that's for sure.
Or Boston.
It was really sad, and even my sister was crying about it.
This is Argyle's first Thanksgiving without Tom.
He carried the spirit of the country life.
Tom the turkey.
He was just a really good turkey.
Everyone in Argyle knew Tom the turkey. He ran in traffic, chased the kids.
He'll come after you, peck you.
And he did that every day of his life until he was killed.
And I was really sad about it because he used to follow me around a lot, and it made me feel really good.
Last December, Tom was on the street outside Argyle Auto Care when someone pulled to the side of the road and killed him.
It was a shock. It was terrible.
Park and wildlife officials think the person who did it planned to eat him.
I'd seen the feathers out there. I was like, huh, that's weird, because we have chickens and guineas around here. I'm like, oh man, one of those chickens or guineas, got hit by something, and came home and the wife's like, someone killed our turkey.
So this Thanksgiving, families in Argyle will gather with stuffing, mashed potatoes, and the obvious, turkey. But there'll be no Tom the turkey.
We'll be eating turkey this year in remembrance of him.
But in some ways, Tom is still with us. Come on in, I'll show you. This memorial inside Argyle Town Hall reminds us.
He ran his race. He finished his race.
Tom is with us forever.
Hey, he's in a better place, you know what I mean?
In Argyle, I'm Alex Rozier.
Heaven's Gate Restaurant, may I help you?
It's the sound Barbie Stanislawski has heard on repeat all week long.
Okay, for 2 people. Very busy.
But for 20 years, she has answered the call.
He'll take care of it.
To serve on Thanksgiving.
I think this is going to be the biggest and the best year that we've had. Thank you.
This year, her restaurant, Heaven's Gate, is nearly booked for Thanksgiving lunch and dinner.
This year, they really booked up, but usually we have room for walk-ins and all that, and I don't think that's going to work this year. Stuffing.
Cooking a Thanksgiving meal costly.
Barbecue ribs.
And she says dining at her buffet restaurant for $19.99 may be cheaper.
Candied yams.
Demand for her low-cost buffet so high, she's already booking into Christmas. She's not the only restaurant booking quickly. Star-Telegram columnist Bud Kennedy noticed it's happening all across Fort Worth.
Then all of a sudden last weekend, it was like kaboom. They all showed up and booked all the restaurants.
These bookings are worth it for customers hoping for a hot meal at a lower price.
You can easily just come here and just order what you need and just have a traditional Thanksgiving lunch.
And through it all,
there'll be plenty of food.
Miss Barbie has avoided raising her prices this year.
I feel like God knows I'm a servant to him. I also want to serve and make folks happy and families.
And that's what it's all about, family. In Fort Worth, I'm Adriana Dale.
If this is your first Thanksgiving celebration here in the U.S., just raise your hand.
For too many of us,
Do you see my turkey?
Thanksgiving is a holiday we simply take for granted.
Today when I'm driving here, I'm start crying. I say, God, thank you for today.
Layli Momeni and dozens of refugees from Iran, from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and China.
What other countries am I missing? Where's Cuba?
They enjoyed this Thanksgiving together at St. Matthew's Cathedral in East Dallas.
This is turkey. They go gobble, gobble.
Turkey is served here, but it is not the main course.
Some white rice for you, sir?
Simply because most here haven't heard of it.
11 years ago, when I changed my religion, they take me to the jail when my daughter's 16 months.
But the stories shared around the dinner table, they are the ones you should hear. Layli fled Iran. Her 90-year-old mother and 10 siblings remain.
I don't want to post any picture or anything about Thanksgiving because I know our people in a really, really hard situation.
In September, Iranian women decided enough was enough. They stood up to a lifetime of oppression. In response, the Iranian government has reacted with a brutal crackdown.
Do you like the food?
Yes.
Yeah?
Another immigrant from Iran came up with this idea for Thanksgiving after being forced to flee herself.
We didn't know what Thanksgiving was about, and it was extremely difficult. We were lonely, our family was, back in Iran.
The Reverend Samira Izzati Page escaped in 1989, and for the last 12 years, she has hosted this holiday. It's more than a meal. This is about belonging and acceptance for those refugees who could escape.
It's extremely lucky, for them to be able to be here in this country, because there are millions of people who want to be out, but they can't.
And that's something to be thankful for.
That's something to be thankful for.
In Dallas, I'm Jason Whiteley.
Outside of AT&T Stadium, lines of tailgating tents.
Get in there! Get in there! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! There you go!
Filled with people ditching the conventional Turkey Day feasts for Cowboys football.
Not your typical Thanksgiving.
No.
Jaime Castaneda and his family drove the 8 hours up from Bronzeville, Texas.
We were here last Thanksgiving, and we set up in that corner. We had a big 100-inch projector. It was amazing.
So they did it again, hauling their big football smoker. And in the spirit of the holiday, breaking bread
You guys want some food?
with new friends,
Taco.
feeding strangers,
All right. Have a good day.
including us.
Win or lose.
Thank
Cowboy fans.
A few tents down.
Hello, news.
Joe Morales and his crew came in from Corpus Christi.
This is actually a first time for us tailgating, and we thought we'd try something different instead of doing the whole traditional family turkey. And
But don't worry, they're still giving thanks.
what are you thankful for?
My family.
Your family.
For both each other and the Cowboys.
Parsons, you know, I'm a big fan of all of them.
And of course, they're thankful for tonight's win.
Touchdown! Woo!
In Arlington, I'm Janelle Fort.
The heartbeat belonged to a boy named Bo. He was 14 months old when he wandered into a swimming pool. By the time they revived him, his heart would still beat, but Bo was gone.
It was about 4 days after his accident that I realized that it would have to be a huge miracle. And if he did survive, he wouldn't be Bo.
So this was the family decision. It's called an honor walk, kissing Bo goodbye at Children's Hospital. His life was ending, but 3 more would live on.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I didn't expect us to make it this far if it wasn't for the heart transplant.
A heart that now belongs to a boy named Eli, a heart that made him strong enough to survive the other surgeries he would need.
They gave me very little hope, and with that heart transplant, everything changed.
Change that made this possible. The families met each other in this same room at Southwest Transplant Alliance earlier this month and listened to Bo's heart again.
Oh, it's so great to meet you, Bo.
Emma is Bo's big sister.
Bo saved Eli's life, and
Were you proud of your brother?
yeah.
The opportunity that we got to give and to donate has really healed us and gave Bo this huge purpose and gave him this hero status. And it just makes you breathe again. It makes you feel so good that there's somebody living because of him. We're so proud of Bo.
Yes.
I'm just so grateful and thankful for them, their choice, their just everything.
There is one other little boy to mention. You may have noticed him, a miracle baby born just last month, Bo's little brother. His name is Jack.
Definitely chosen by Bo.
It was a wonderful surprise.
Oh, yeah.
He will never know his big brother, but he will grow up knowing the hero his brother became.
We knew that it was our responsibility and our honor to be able to help provide that and make that decision, and it's the greatest decision I've ever been a part of.
A decision made on the worst day of their lives, and a decision they hope the rest of us will consider when that day comes for the rest of us too. In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.
Pretty soon, many of us will be gathered around with our favorite Thanksgiving foods on one table. But wouldn't it be better if we could have it all in one slice?
A lot of people are like, man, that's just weird. That's not pizza. But it's good, man. It's really good.
And Greg Tierney, who owns Motor City Pizza in Louisville, says his new Thanksgiving pizza is really good because it's all made from scratch. The roasted turkey he smokes himself, the house-made dressing, even the fresh sweet potatoes and green beans. Then, after it comes out of the oven, it's topped with scratch-made gravy, fried onions, and dollops of cranberry sauce.
I guess the only thing we don't put on there is the pumpkin pie.
Greg says he knows what you're thinking. Ew. In fact, one group of diners had that reaction, but decided to try it anyway.
And then they turn around and they order another one to go.
Greg says it works because it's Detroit-style pizza, a rectangular, thick pan pizza that can support all these toppings that are delicious.
Give it a try. You might be surprised that you might really like it.
Greg says you may have something new to be thankful for. Thank you.
We'd like to thank you for joining us through this journey through the many years of Thanksgiving stories. We hope these moments reminded you of the power of gratitude and community. From all of us here at WFAA, happy Thanksgiving.